Hi, welcome back. So today's quote is from Let's Train the Brain. Now, this is someone who shares content about neuroscience. And when this post came up a couple of weeks ago, I was like, that needs to get shared. So it says, neuroscience shows confidence is born from consistently showing up for yourself and doing things you don't want to do, but know are good for you. For example, eating healthy meals, drinking your water, going for your walks, getting your early night sleep, stopping doom scrolling, going to the gym. So doing hard things that you don't want to do, but you know are good for you. She goes on, every time you show up for yourself despite resistance, you're not just being disciplined, you're building self-trust and proving to your brain that your word means something. Each act breeds more self-confidence. Neuroplasticity means your brain rewires through repeated experience. Every time you choose discomfort with intention, you strengthen the identity of someone who respects their future self, instilling, I'm the type of person who does hard things. So I always say this, I say that at first, there's so much resistance to doing these healthy habits because when it feels new, it feels hard. Like the resistance is harder. It's more alien to you and more out of the ordinary. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. And that's because you're showing yourself, you're giving yourself evidence that it can be done. Now, this is putting it into a neuroscience, this is proven by neuroscience. Neuroplasticity means your brain rewires through repeated experience. So the more you do hard things, the more you become someone who's comfortable doing hard things. And therefore those healthy habits that 12 months ago felt so hard for you to do and you always were slipping up and falling back into things, they're now like second nature. And that's something that I hear all the time. It's like once someone gets 6 months to a year in, they're like, I can't believe who I am, how this is all feeling for me. This was so hard initially and now it's just part of who I am. And that's what consistency does. Continuing to show up and do hard things allows you to become that person. So most people chase easy dopamine, but when you show up for what's hard, your brain learns to release dopamine from effort, not just reward. That's how motivation becomes internal and self-respect replaces self-sabotage. The more dopamine you get from easy wins, the harder it becomes to do anything that requires effort or delay. My brain here went to things like quick fixes, fasting diets, meal replacement diets, and things like Ozempic. There are places for GLP-1 agonists, and I totally get that. But the easier something feels, the harder it is to do it the right way, the hard way, the consistent way. Your brain says, why work hard when I can feel good now? But when you consistently act on what's hard, your brain starts rewarding you for the process itself. You begin to crave follow through, not just quick relief. So that's if you've been doing this for a while, you start to crave the healthy food, you start to crave the workout. You know that doing the hard thing feels really good. And even if it feels like you've got this resistance and it's I know that it feels hard to do. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go for this run. I really don't want to do it. I know it's going to be sweaty. I know it's going to be hard and it's going to be hilly. I don't want to do this run. But I remember the feeling of during and after it, and that makes me go and do it. So I'm not looking for the quick relief of just getting on the phone, on the couch and scrolling. I'm looking for that actual dopamine hit, that thing that's going to make me feel even better. She goes on again, when you consistently show up and do the things you don't want to do, when you choose to act anyway, your nervous system starts to learn, I'm okay, this isn't a threat. And over time, what once felt uncomfortable becomes your new baseline. The resistance fades, the hard things start to feel normal and even empowering. And that's exactly what I was saying about people who've been into this for 6 months a year can't even recognize themselves as opposed to the girls 6 months a year ago, because they're all of this feels easy. It used to feel so hard. And you only get to that point though by making yourself keep going even when it feels sticky. When you're a little bit hungover, like I've been this morning, you go and do the thing anyway. You eat the healthy meals. When you've been on holiday and you're finding it hard to get back to it, you just don't think, you just go and you just do the thing. That is how you become consistent, and that's how eventually it becomes part of who you are. I really, really enjoyed that quote. Okay, so we've got some wins to share. So Beth said she managed to get back to her workouts and did too, having not done any for a couple of weeks due to poor planning. Amazing. So remember what I said, whether it was last week or a couple of weeks ago, you will not just find the time. You have to physically carve the time out. Like, don't expect your workouts to just happen and for those to just like land on you. You have to actually look at your week ahead to be like, when is it going to happen? So for me, I already know Monday, Wednesday, I'm getting my full body strength in. Tuesday, I'm running. And then Friday, I'm doing high rocks conditioning. That's my week laid out. And I plan that in advance and I plan it around what's going on with work. You know, I'm covering sessions on Thursday, so that's not really a day that I want to train. I know I'm going to be sore from Wednesday anyway. You know, I'm looking at the days Fran's going to jiu-jitsu and the days that I'm going to need to cook tea and all these things. So you need to make sure that you carve that time out rather than just expect it to happen accidentally, because it won't. Emma said she got to the gym 3 times despite nearly calling off the third due to a bit of a chaotic week, and she was feeling a bit tired. She said she still went and she's so glad she did. Example, doing something hard, doing something she didn't feel like in the moment but knew it would be good for her, and she felt better for doing it. Kim has said she's been increasing her barbell push press to 17.5 kilo. When she started at Lift and Glow 12 weeks ago, she could only manage 2 5-kilogram dumbbells. Let me just check my phone's on charge because it's going to die. So she said she could only do 2 5-kilogram dumbbells, and she is loving seeing this progression with her upper body strength. Now, if you've just got into lifting, please do not get frustrated with how slow things like your shoulder press and your bench press will feel to progressing. Your legs are a bigger muscle group. They carry you around all day, every day. They do get stronger quicker. And like we always say to the girls in the gym, it doesn't matter if you're starting on the 5 kilos, like everyone starts there. We just over time, we'll add a little bit, then you'll be doing your barbell. Once you're on your barbell, we'll increase slowly there as well. So this is amazing. In 12 weeks, you've seen, you know, you've almost doubled the weight that you can push above your head. Like that is a movement that not many women do day to day. And this is an amazing achievement. So well done. She also said that she's lost 4.5 kilos in 12 weeks and really does feel on the way to feeling good about herself when she turns 40 in October. She's getting stronger and losing weight at the same time. That means that she's going to be building muscle and losing fat at the same time. That's going to make more of a difference aesthetically and health-wise. Let's not just think about how you look, but health-wise than just losing weight. Because when we build muscle, we're improving our metabolism, we're improving our health, we're improving our longevity. It's so important that we have muscle. So she's getting stronger, she's losing fat at the same time, and that is fantastic. I really love this one. So this is from Claire. She said she hasn't drank alcohol for a couple of weeks. She said she's not going to give it up completely, but she's liking having a bit more of a break from it and like create this circuit breaker. She felt like she was in the habit of every weekend having a drink, but this last couple of weeks she's noticed that she's had the best 2 weeks worth of sleeps, and she's looking forward to the next few weeks. She doesn't usually drink a lot, but being menopausal means she can't seem to cope even with just a few glasses. If you've noticed that if you are perimenopausal or menopausal, you need to remember that alcohol is one of the key things that makes symptoms worse. So, you know, the insomnia, the night sweats, the fatigue, alcohol and perimenopause just do not mix. And so if you're noticing yourself just in this routine for the sake of it, me and Fran got into it. So when the weather started getting nice, at the start of the summer, it was just like, weather's nice, let's have a couple of beers. We weren't drinking a lot. It was literally a couple of beers here and there. But it was every week. Or we were going for a food shop on a Thursday night and just ending up at the bar when the weather was nice. Whereas we were like, this isn't what we want to do. We don't want to be people who drink weekly. Yes, we do the nights out every now and again, you know, here and there, once every 1 or 2 months. That's okay. But it became this weekly thing in line with the weather. And all you need to do is nip it in the bud. And it's just have a couple of weeks where you don't do it. Maybe have a whole month where you don't do it. But I have coached so many women through perimenopause, and alcohol is one of the biggest things that I say to them to be mindful of. It just doesn't help when you're struggling with your symptoms. Olivia, I've got to mention Olivia. I've just got within the next stone loss bracket, and she's only £8 to go before she's at her pre-baby weight. This is so good. Olivia's been a member of Lift and Glow for again about 12 weeks, and she's just absolutely smashed it, and you can see she's just glowing. She sent me some progress pictures the other day, and they made me so happy. Okay, so let's go through some of the things that we are finding hard. Okay, so there are a lot of questions, so I'll go through a couple of the struggles. I managed to go for 2 runs, and I tried to make sensible food decisions where I could, focusing on protein and only eating until 80% full. So she went away with her family but didn't have access to a kitchen. So she did her best to stay active, and she focused on eating till 80% full, which is something that I talk about all the time. She said she noticed a drop in energy and an increase in bloating, so definitely haven't eaten as well as I could have. Now, this I actually think is a positive thing, and I know that might sound backwards, but when you've been having healthy habits and you've been eating a certain way, you start to notice how not good it makes you feel when you do the opposite. So I know that if I have times where I eat, I'm a bit more indulgent. For example, I've been on holiday, or I've been on a weekend away, or maybe I've just, celebrated a birthday or whatever. My body gives me signals. It's like, Hayley, this isn't actually good for you. Like, you don't actually enjoy this like sluggish, bloated feeling. Also, I know I spoke about this a few months ago now. Like, I'm grateful that my skin reacts to how I eat. Like, if I eat lots of sugar or I get really stressed, I have really bad breakouts, and a lot of people could get down about that, but I'm not getting down about it. I'm grateful for it, because my body gives me the signs and signals that, whoa, you need to take care of yourself a bit better, you need to start eating better, you need to de-stress, you need to sleep more. And so this is going to happen if you eat food that you don't typically eat anymore. If it's like food that your body doesn't love, it's going to make you react. Now, that's not a reason to just be pure and overly strict and never eat the things. This is an insane podcast, guys. Like, it's all going on. It's not a sign to just like not eat those things ever again. It's just a sign to be mindful that they're not helping you. And you might go for a pizza and accept, tomorrow I'm going to feel a bit bloated, tomorrow I'm going to feel a bit sluggish, but that's okay, because that social occasion, that weekend away, that pizza or wine with my friend who I haven't seen in ages was worth me just feeling this discomfort for a day or two. So you've got to enjoy your holidays, you've got to enjoy your breaks. You did what you can. Yes, the quality of food wasn't amazing, but you did eat until 80% full. It could have been worse. You could have overate and took it to excess, and you didn't do that. All it is that your body's giving you signals that type of food just isn't something that you want to be doing all the time. It's a little sign to be like, okay, you've had your fun, now let's nourish our body again and get our gut feeling good again. So I don't think that this is something that you should be worried about. I don't think you should be stressed about it. I think it's just a case of get back to your normal routine, accept a holiday is a holiday, a break is a break. Indulgence is fine in moderation, and it sounds like you've done it moderately. Just crack on, head down, loads of water, loads of nourishing food. You'll be fine within 48, 72 hours. Like, this feeling will be gone. You probably also need to get in the gym and have like a little week of in your normal routine, because when you're so used to hitting the gym 3 times a week and doing your runs or your walks as well, you can feel a little bit meh from just not doing those things. So yeah, don't worry about this. It's just all part and parcel of living a balanced life. Hi, babe. Okay, next. I want to help navigating a buffet at Son's Football Awards. Oh, this is something that she struggled with, but she did eat there and she tracked it and made sensible choices. So my main tip for a buffet is you can't really go far wrong if you only have one plate of food, and if on that plate you are thinking about the things that we always do when building a meal. So for example, if there's pretty much at a buffet, there's pretty much always either some sort of curry or some sort of chili or some sort of chicken dish or something. There's always some sort of hot dish. So can you just get the curry and the rice? You don't then need sandwiches and cakes and everything else. Or can you just get the chili and the rice? You don't need to have garlic bread and sausage rolls and, a buffet. Yes, there's this spread of food in front of you, but you don't need to go crazy with it. It really doesn't make any difference. You can really enjoy yourself by being moderate. And so when I go to a buffet, I'm just trying to think, what would I eat if I was at home right now? Oh, there's a chicken curry there. I'll get chicken curry and rice. You don't need to have all the extra add-ons. If it's not a hot buffet, it's a cold buffet. You really can't go far wrong with having a sandwich. There's like a chicken, or there's cheese and ham, or there's tuna. Just get a few sandwiches. Maybe you do get a little bit of like chicken bites or prawns or whatever's on the side, and that's fine. But you're thinking, how can I build a balanced meal as best I can with this? Maybe there's a bit of salad there and you can throw the salad on. I think the thing to be mindful of is going back for more. It's the same with all-inclusive holidays. Like, a plate of food is fine. A plate of food would make you feel good. You'd feel satisfied. Okay, you might want the pastries, the cakes and everything, but you don't need it. And it's not something that's actually going to make you feel any better after the meal. So when you're at these buffets and the people have put a spread on, just look at it and just think to yourself, how can I build myself one plate of food that's got a mix of protein, carbs, and ideally some fruits or veggies as well. That one plate rule, you can't go wrong with it, because unless you pile it up with pastries and cakes, you're really not going to go wrong. So build one plate and build something as close to what you would do at home, building it with your protein, your carbs, and your veggies. But don't say no to buffets. Like, don't be the girl who, I mean, you can be if you really want to, but you don't need to take Tupperware. You don't need to be the mum who doesn't eat when everyone else's mum is eating. You don't need to be that person. You can enjoy those things and, enjoy that time with your family, with your son, and just eat moderately. Like, it is possible. And you leave the event feeling really proud. Okay, I found it so hard getting to bed. My kids don't go to bed till about 9 some nights, and I've been booking the 6 a.m. as it's the best time I can go without it getting in the way of my day. Okay, so if you go into the 6 a.m. class, maybe your alarm is at 5 a.m. like mine, okay? So if your alarm is early, you're going to want to be in bed really by 9 p.m. as well yourself. So how can you make it so that when the kids are in bed, you can go to bed straight after? Now, I totally get, as a mum, you've got to wash up, clean up, hoover, do your dishes, put the washing on. There's things that you'll want to do once the kids have gone to bed. Can you ask your support system? So can you say, while you're bathing the kids, can you make sure, or can you ask your partner to do the dishes and to hoover, so that when the kids are bathed in the bed, you can go to bed as well? Like, how can you ask for help? How can you make it so that things are, or even like, it's not the end of the world if when you go to bed one night, it's messy and there's things undone. You can have a little mad hour when you get home from the gym, a little half hour productive tidy, or do things that, you haven't done from yesterday. So, your house doesn't always need to be pristine. Everything doesn't always need to be done every day, but getting sleep is important. Don't put pressure on this, because as long as you're, in bed by 10 p.m., you're going to have sufficient sleep. But it would be better if you just get in bed as soon as they are. But I know that it's hard. Like, I'm not silly. Like, I work with hundreds of mums. Life isn't smooth. It isn't plain sailing. You've got kids in the bed or kids up and down in the night, and you do have so much more to do at home. So don't put pressure on yourself on trying to be perfect. Like, yes, okay, 7 hours a night is great, but when you've got young children, that might not always be possible. And if you do get a night of 7 hours sleep, great, but don't feel annoyed, frustrated, like you're not doing enough if you don't get that 7 hours. Like, you can handle, being a bit short on sleep. It's part and parcel of being a mum, as far as I understand. So, ideally go to bed when the kids do. If that's not possible, don't stress about it. Just go as soon as you can. I only did one strength session. It's been a busy week with work. I'm trying to juggle being a single mum with kids on summer holidays. I just haven't been able to fit any more in. And I just want to say to you, that's okay. Like, I know I always say, the kids are off for 3 months of the year and that's a quarter of the year and all that. But you got to remember that your situation is that you right now are on your own with the kids and you've got to entertain them. You don't have that support system. So the person who I was just speaking to before this, her partner, can help with things because he's there. You're on your own with them and everything is on you, and that's not easy. For you to be able to get one workout in is fantastic, and you should be proud of yourself for that, because a lot of single mums can't even do that. Like, they can't even, envision prioritizing themselves in the way that you have. I think also like maybe consider something like home workouts. Can you get yourself a pair of heavy kettlebells, or can you get yourself a pair of adjustable dumbbells or something, and do some home workouts and be okay that it doesn't look perfect and it's not ideal for you, and okay, you're not training at on the days and the times that you really want to, or in the way that you really want to, but at least you're moving and at least you're being active, and that'll make you feel better than not doing anything at all. There's times in life where things are messy and things are imperfect. You know, I always talk about when I was building the gym, like training was so hard for me to do, but you know, you can only do what you can. You're human at the end of the day. Going once is a good achievement. It's better than not going at all. By the way, I lost a nail and I just feel like the ugliest person in the world. Isn't it just mad how much of a difference that can make to yourself, having an ugly thumb? Okay, let's go through some questions. Right, I've got a 3-day trial coming up at a gym near me that I'm debating joining. So far, I've only done the home workouts. It's a Nuffield gym, and I just wondered if you have any advice to prepare me for the differences or anything in particular I should look out for. Am I still okay to do the home workouts at the gym and just try out a few of the new machines rather than changing programs in case I don't join? Okay, so I don't know if you know this. If you're part of the Confidence Club and if you're part of the gym, you don't need to only have access to one program. So there are a couple of girls within the community who do like gym workouts and home workouts, and it might be that they know they can go to the gym 2 days a week and they need to do a home workout on the third, so they'll do a home workout from the program on the third. So you can have a blend of them, so you can have access to two. But what I would say is, if you are going from training at home for the last few years and you want to get comfortable in the gym, I would highly recommend that you stay doing the home program in the gym, because one of the hardest things about joining the gym is just that it's a different environment. It's a new environment. If you spend the next 1 to 2 months doing home workouts in the gym, the place will feel more comfortable. You've got, you know, you only need dumbbells, so you can just get your dumbbells and take yourself off to a place that you feel okay. And while you're there, you can start sussing it out. You can start sussing out the environment. You can start getting familiar with people who are there and saying hi to people, and just figure out a time that works for you as well. So this is something that I always say: if you're moving from home to gym workouts and you are like lacking in confidence in the gym, stick to the home program in the gym. When you're ready, we can allocate you the gym program, and I've got a really good beginner gym program for you, which is free weights and machines. You won't need to go near a barbell, and it's free weights and machines. You do that beginner program and then you can progress to one of the other ones. I've had so much good feedback on the beginner program. It really does help you get into the flow of using the gym. So yeah, I definitely would do that. It's a way of you staying comfortable with what you're doing, just in a different environment. And it allows you to use heavier weights while you're in the gym, so you will be progressing. Next, when I do my dumbbell RDLs, I find my feet sometimes raise at the toes as I'm trying so hard to take my hips back and dig into my heels. Is this a sign of overdoing it, or does that often happen to people? Whenever an exercise says to dig into your heels, like glute bridge, I've often really struggled with feeling it, but it's getting better now, so I do consciously try and work on this a lot, but wonder if it's a bit much in this case. So when I'm doing RDLs, from time to time, I'll kind of lose balance and my toes will lift. It's not the end of the world, but I do want you to consciously think about pinning all four corners down to the ground. I know that on some exercises, like a bridge, like a hip thrust, I'm saying dig through the heels, but I do ideally want all four corners of the feet down. I just don't, because the tendency is that people push into their toes, and we want you to spread your toes and push into the heel of your foot as well. So this isn't bad. It's not a sign that you're doing too much. It's just something that we need to try and think about, so that we're not constantly leaning back. We do want to push into all four corners of the feet. Like I said, when I'm doing some RDLs, from time to time, my toes lift as well. That's okay. As long as you think, right, okay, push down through all four corners. And it'll be like, as you push your hips back, your weight will shift back. And then as you drive your hips forward, think spread, grip the floor. Always easier when you've got no shoes on. When you've got shoes on, this happens so much more. So I always do leg day with no shoes on. It's 3 weeks until I go on holiday. Anything extra specific I can do other than normal food, exercise, to make sure that I feel the best I can and get an extra boost? In the nicest way possible now. it's in the territory of like panic dieting. It's in the territory of, I've only got 3 weeks, I'm going to be really extreme. And we know where that always leads. It leads to being back to square one, coming back from holiday and it feeling too hard to get back to it. I really, really just want to encourage you to think about consistency. What you do over the next 3 weeks is important, but how quickly can you get back to it when you come back from holiday? Like the next day, I mean, unless you're insanely jet lagged, then maybe it's the day after the day you come home. So I think there is nothing more that I would do. 3 weeks really isn't long enough to see massive differences. You've got the potential to lose about £3 if you are on it with your diet and your steps and your training. But I think this mentality is this kind of faddy, there's the little butterfly sat right next to the dog, it's so cute. This kind of like faddy quick fix type mindset that I really want to remove you from. And instead, I would absolutely love it if you focused on consistency and remembered that like what you do when you get home from holiday is going to impact how you feel next year, and think about it more long term than this little 3 weeks. I know that's not the answer that you wanted, but I'm not going to spout a load of bullshit to you. That's just not how I do things. Like 3 weeks really isn't. That's why I don't do 21-day challenges. It's why I don't do anything for shorter than 6 weeks, because for us to see difference, for us to make an impact, for us to build habits and, do it in a way that isn't going to sabotage your health, your mental health, your relationship with food and all that, we do need a little bit longer than 3 weeks. I've recently been diagnosed with PCOS. So PCOS is now been named PMOS. Same thing, just a slightly different title. Finally, some answers after years and years. But what is my health this year? Well, she's had a lot going on. All happening at once. I know weights and nutrition are so important for this from research I've done over the years, but now I'm probably diagnosed. Is there anything else you would want to see me do differently as a coach? One thing that I would definitely do if I was you is go and follow Lois. Lois is one of the coaches at Lift and Glow, and she has PCOS, and she shares so much content for girls with PCOS as well. So she'll show you what she's eating, she'll show you how she's training. One of the big things is managing stress. Another big thing is eating enough and regularly, minimizing sugar, and all of the healthy habits that you already know to do. So, but a big thing is this insulin resistance. So things that can help is after a meal, go for a short walk. So I'll say to generally anyone who doesn't have PCOS, I'll be like, just get your walk in when you can. But you might want to do your breakfast and then go for a 10-minute walk. Have your lunch and then go for a 10-15 minute walk. Have your dinner and then a 10-15 minute walk. So you're breaking them up into little ones. Make sure that you're not going too long without eating. We want to make sure that we're keeping the blood sugars balanced. Make sure that you're getting plenty of fats, whole food, carb sources, and really minimizing things like chocolate, sugar, alcohol. Obviously, the big thing with this is like if you're missing cycles and stuff, if you want to encourage regular cycles, it all comes from the healthy habits that you already know to do. But Lois is a great person to follow on this, so I definitely would follow. And I'm sure if you messaged her, she'd help you with any questions that you've got. Okay, lower belly issues. I always seem to have a big tummy. You don't. Despite eating well, drinking loads of water and going to the toilet every day, I have a pop belly. This is how you see yourself, but it's not how other people see you. And I really think that it's important. We do want to feel good in our skin, but we are our own worst critics. And we always zone in and focus on the things that we, maybe dislike about ourselves. Like I do it, everyone does it. You'll be looking at like a 10 out of 10 Victoria's Secret model and she will have things that she hates about herself, and it's horrible. It's our brains are just fucking fucked. But this is something that you see in yourself that other people don't care about and don't see. I just like a flatter tummy. Is there anything I can do training wise to focus on my core that might help me? I had a C-section, but 20 years ago. It's bothering me that much. I'm looking at getting a tummy tuck when I retire. I know there is no way to fully getting rid of it, but any advice you have would be great. So things that we can do. Obviously, we do plenty of core work in the programs. You can do thousands of crunches every single day. That's not going to get rid of belly fat. The things that we need to take into consideration here is, one, you did have a C-section, you have had, you've had pregnancy, and pregnancy does change your body. And that can be forever, not for everyone, but also not everyone just bounces back after a baby. Like, your body goes through changes. We don't know, I don't know whether what you're referring to is stretched skin. After C-section, women do have different, can see changes in the stomach after a C-section, down to like how you heal, down to how you store fat. As we get older, we store fat differently. So we have a redistribution of fat cells, and they head more around towards our middle. So belly fat can be hard to get rid of for those reasons. Pregnancy, C-section, age, those types of things do have an impact, but this isn't something that doing loads of crunches is going to help with. The only thing that we can realistically do to reduce body fat is eat in a calorie deficit and continue to lose weight. 99 times out of 100, women whose problem area is their belly, it's the last place to go from. And so it is a case of keeping on dieting. Now, I can't promise you that this is going to go away altogether because of a C-section and age and those types of things, but you can still feel better about it. It's just a case of continuing to lose body fat. But you do have to also remember that potentially you do have loose skin there, and potentially this is an area where your body genetically does store body fat, and so it might be harder to lose. You might have to diet for longer than you want to. You might have to get lighter on the scales than maybe you thought you would. It all depends on how much losing this belly fat is important to you. And so yeah, this is something that you see of yourself. No one is critiquing or judging you for that. No one cares. Like, you are who you are because of who you are, not because of this. And so if you wanted to reduce it, body fat is the way. I mean, I'm not going to encourage anybody to get surgery, but there are many women who I know who've had surgery and do feel great after it, but it's not for everyone. It is a lot. There is recovery involved, and nobody needs it at the end of the day. Like, nobody needs it. So, you've got to do what's right for you. But I think right now, if it's something that you really want to work on, fat loss is the focus. Being in a calorie deficit is the focus. I've done 3 classes a week since starting the 6-week beginner, and since becoming a member, I've done 4, sometimes 5. I know recovery is a massive part of progress when it comes to fitness, but I feel like if I drop classes, I'll see less progress sooner. I'd like some advice on if it's okay to train 5 days and have weekends off. It's absolutely fine to train 5 days a week. Like, if your body is conditioned for that and you're feeling okay from it, then it's absolutely fine. You are not gonna... The thing is, the girls who come and train 5 days a week just fucking love it. And they just love being there. It starts their day or ends their day in a way that they, feel good, and they just absolutely love it. If I lifted weights 5 days a week, I'd feel really, really done in. I can train 5 days a week, but it's across different things. I'm lifting, I'm running, I'm lifting, I'm resting, I'm doing high rocks or lifting. So, it's not a bad thing. Many of the girls do train 5 days a week, but it's also not essential. So if you feel like it's eating into your life, if you feel like it's making you exhausted, if you feel like you're too sore and you're not recovering, then maybe it's too much for you. If you're someone who doesn't sleep a lot, or maybe you're very stressed in everyday life, 5 sessions might be too much. I think it's all a case of how you feel. So many of the girls in Lift and Glow feel amazing training 5 days a week, but others, it's just too much for. It all depends on your life, okay? So how are you feeling? Do you feel sore? Do you feel achy? Are you struggling to recover? If so, that's a sign you need a little bit more rest. If you feel good and 5 workouts is like fine, and you're getting stronger still, and it's not impacting your energy and your moods and all of that, and it's not eating away at your life, like if it's not taking away from other things in your life, then do it if that's what you enjoy doing. Sorry, I'm just thirsty. Okay. I really like this question because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. So, will you be doing your extra podcast again with your other coaches? This is something that I am absolutely dying to get back to. 2 podcasts a week is definitely what I want to be doing, because I know how much of a difference, like I really, really love building this podcast community. And it's quite strange for me because obviously the members listen, but I don't know who else is listening. I can see all these like 500 people listening, but I don't know who you are. But I still love building this community, and I know that it's making such a positive impact on people. Like the messages I get sometimes, like it will be someone completely out the blue and they're like, Hayley, I've listened to your podcast for the last 6 months and you've changed my life. I've, dropped 4 dress sizes, and it's actually mad to me, but I love it because my ultimate goal is to positively impact as many women as possible, and this is a way that I can do that and I can reach so many women. So this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, and we are almost done with the coffee shop. I just need to get a few more things sorted, and once that's done, I'm going to get a little podcast set up. So I just need like a soundproofing screen, I need a few more microphones, and then I'm going to start getting the team on the podcast again. So it is coming back. It's something I'm dying to bring back. I just couldn't really justify the studio anymore. It was costing us too much at a time where we needed to pour everything into the gym. That's just sometimes like we were so sad to not do it anymore. But yeah, they're going to come back. They're going to look a bit different. They're going to be a bit more rough and ready, rough around the edges like this is. But I know that you don't care about all the fancy pants editing and stuff. You literally just want to hear us talk about things that are going to help you. So I'm going to bring them back. Give me time, I'll bring them back. Okay, when I do deadlifts, no matter what I do, I go really light, it hurts my back. I've got a back condition and a shoulder injury, so should I do them or stay lighter and change the exercise? Listen, not every single exercise is for every single person, okay? Some bodies do not like to back squat. Some bodies do not like to bench press. Some bodies do not like to deadlift, and that could be for one reason or another. And you do not need to put yourself in a box that I have built. Like, obviously, you don't have a personalized program, so there might be changes and shifts that you need to make. But if deadlifts, like barbell deadlifts, are just not for you, they're just not for you. You can still get a strong posterior chain by doing your hip thrusts. Maybe when every time it says barbell deadlift, instead you do a single leg deadlift, because you're still working all those muscles in the back of the leg, but you can hold on, you can be a bit more stable, you don't need to go as heavy. And so that might be a change that you make. But you can swap deadlifts for hip thrusts every single time if you want to. You can do the 45-degree hyperextension if that feels okay on your back. You can do single leg deadlifts or B-stance RDLs. Whatever it is you need to do to make a change, that is absolutely fine. If when you get a new program, when I assign a new program, feel free to drop me a message and just say, listen, what can I swap deadlifts for on workout 3, and I'll be able to advise you. And then every week you can just substitute that exercise. Obviously it's different if you have a personalized program, it's written just for you, but you don't need that to be able to make sensible swaps. Like, you can substitute things easy enough within the app. If I want to bank calories this week to use more at the weekend for my birthday, how many do you recommend is a healthy amount to bank each day? I don't really love banking any more than 10% of your calories. So, maybe 15%, 10 to 15% of your daily calories. So if your calories was 2,000 calories a day, borrowing 200 calories a day is fine. I just want people to feel fueled and to feel good all the time, and I don't want you to be starving, and I don't want you to really restrict through the week and then that cause massive overeating at the weekend. I also want to remind you that your birthdays are your birthdays and they're fuck yes moments. So it's actually okay if you don't borrow calories for your birthday and you just enjoy your birthday guilt-free. Like, you don't have to absolutely win every week to make progress. Sometimes making progress is not sabotaging yourself all week because it's your birthday on one day. Sometimes making progress is enjoying your birthday guilt-free, whereas in the past you might have been riddled with guilt for going on a mad one. So if you really want to bank calories, 10 to 15% of your daily target, but you don't feel like you need to do this, like, it's a celebration at the end of the day. We're nearly there, girls. I'm hosting a picnic buffet for my mum friends and their babies. How cute. What sort of things should I put on that's healthy protein? Everyone goes for crisps and carbs usually. Okay, so I don't know it doesn't matter where you're getting it from, but things that you could do, like when me and my girls do like a spread, we'll get like, I don't even eat these, but we always get them, is like those cooked prawns. So you can do like, you've said like a picnic buffet. So there's like packets of cooked prawns that you can get from Aldi or Marks's, and they've got like seasoning on. My girls always go mad for them. We do like salami and cheese rollitos, like a charcuterie board, which is all meats and cheeses. You could do some like chicken bites, or just think like protein. You could do nice barbecue food. Maybe you could do some grilled chicken. You could get some salads, you could get some hummus, some dips, crisps and carbs. Fine, there's room for them there, but there's plenty of protein that you can throw on. Just think about, like, when you're looking around the shop, just look for easy ways to eat protein. If it was us, we'd be doing like little mini chicken sausages, little Scotch eggs even, prawns, little rollito, cheese and salami rollitos, or cheese and chorizo rollitos, chicken wings, them like trays of chicken wings, or the trays of chicken drumsticks that you can get from Marks's. All of those things are good. You can get them anywhere, not just Marks's. Rice, like a couscous, like a salad. You can get them grain salads as well, which is all different grains and veggies. You can really get like a healthy picnic spread if you go looking for it. Just don't go looking for the crisps and the pastries. Go like have a good little dig through the salads, through the ready-made salads, through the cooked meats, like little charcuteries. All of that is fine. Remember also that it is fine to have a meal that doesn't tick every single box. Like if this is your one meal out of your 21 meals a week, you don't need to tick every box every single time. Another thing that you could do that we always do is like fruit. So making a nice big fruit salad, loads of berries, loads of grapes. Your buffet, your picnic, it really can be nutritious. You just have to, when you walk around the shop, look for the things that you think are high in protein, high in fibre. And it's okay to have crisps, just don't make it all crisps. Or it's okay to have little mini sausage rolls, but don't put pastries on pastries on pastries on pastries. I think there's tons in the shops at the minute. Like, think about the cooked prawns, the cooked chicken, the charcuteries, the bits of cheese, all of that with salads, bit of fruit. Nailed it. Dips, hummus, tzatziki, gorgeous. I'm making myself want a picnic. Okay, so let me just see. So I never ever do this, but I did put a question box on Instagram just to see if anyone else wanted to ask a question. And I do have another question here. So the best way to track food for a calorie deficit. So obviously, there's multiple ways that you can track food. You can even take a picture of absolutely everything you eat and put that into ChatGPT these days. You've got NutriCheck, you've got MyFitnessPal, the Lift and Glow app has got a meal tracker within it. There are tons and tons of ways that you can track your food. You just need to make sure that you've got a calorie target that is right for you, and make sure that you are being accurate. So it doesn't matter what app you use, you need to make sure that the portions that you say you're having, you are actually having. Like, the biggest mistake that I see when people track food is that they just lie, and it's not always intentional. They're just like, oh, I had a bit of that rice, or this amount, 100 grams of chicken, and they just put in like three ounces of chicken. I'm like, I'm sorry, since when have you seen like 3 ounces of chicken on a packet? Like, you don't see that. You need to make sure that you are weighing your food, you are being specific, you're not just putting 10 grams of butter when you've like lathered something in butter. You need to make sure that you're actually being accurate, because the biggest downfall with tracking, it's not the app. The apps don't matter. The tool that you use doesn't matter. It's always user error. So you need to make sure that if you want to really track and you want to do it accurately, that you do it accurately and you don't like accidentally start lying to the app or the tool that you're using. So weigh your food. That includes your cereal, it includes your milks, your sauces, your butter, your mayo. And I know that sounds over the top, and I know it sounds time consuming, but it's not. Get yourself a pair of electric scales. It is easy, and I do not care what anyone says. I will not listen to anyone say that tracking is time consuming, because it's not. You literally, at the minute, I'm on a crazy diet at the moment. I am eating, and I'm not on a diet. I mean diet as in food that I'm eating. I'm eating 2,700 calories. Okay, so that's a lot. I'm in a calorie surplus, and it's intentional, and it's got reason behind it. It's something that I need to do, and I am putting everything that I eat into ChatGPT, because it's just easy. I just write it in. or take a picture of it, write it in, and it's tallying it up for me. Now, and that sounds mad, and like, I don't know, PTs out there are probably going to be like, track on MyFitnessPal or use my app to track. And you can use my app if that's what you love, and you can use MyFitnessPal if that's what you love, but it's not about the tool, it's about the user, it's about what you put into it. So just make sure that you are being accurate, and make sure that you actually have the right calorie target. So I think another big mistake that I see is that every single time a woman wants to diet, they just try and eat 1,200 calories for some reason. That is not what you want to be doing. You want to make sure that you've got the right calorie deficit for you specifically. And you can find tons of free calorie calculators online, but again, it is about the information that you put in. So make sure you're honest with it about your activity level. Don't try and lose more than £1 a week, because that way it's going to be too restrictive and you're not going to be able to stick at it long term. So yeah, that is all our questions. Girls, do me a massive favour. Please rate, review, comment on the podcast. It honestly makes such a difference. Every time you do that, the podcast gets pushed out to more people, and this is how these people are finding me and changing their lives just by listening to this podcast. Yeah, please rate, review, engage with the podcast in the best way you can. Send it to your friends. Anything that you can do would be amazing. And if you do want to join the community, if you want to get access to the Lift and Glow programming, if you want to get access to nutrition targets, habits, if you just want to be part of this weekly Q&A and part of the group chat and just part of the vibe, and you want to get into strength training, then click the link in the show notes to join the community. Thank you so much for listening. Honestly, this is like the favourite part of my week every single week. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next week. Bye.